Hey artists and art lovers, it's Allison and I am matching my couch today. It's a day for gray and I have this piece with me that I'm working on. It doesn't have a name yet, but she is wearing a lace dress as you can see, and I'm meticulously going through and getting that pattern and that texture down with ink, and it's taking a while, but it is really fun and very relaxing to do, and the perfect kind of work to do while I talk to you guys about the subject for this video, which is art critiques. So I was talking with an artist the other day about art school and things that, you know, I liked and disliked about it. And one of the things that came up was critiques. And I was thinking a little bit more about them like after our conversation, and I realized that as much as I really disliked critiques in school and they stressed me out, there are things about them that I really miss. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about things I miss and don't miss about having classroom critiques. And I'm really curious to see if you guys feel the same, and hear about what your thoughts were. So I'll start with the positives. The things that I really liked about having critiques are, the obvious. Having a group of artists sitting in a room looking at your work and their whole objective is just to give you feedback about it. That is not something that I can just have every week like I did in school. I could try to put together a group of people. I actually think it would be really fun to get a group of artists together, put our work up and talk to each other about it. But it would not be easy. I would have to really put some time into it, but that's an idea. I might do that. But I digress. Having them every week in school, or not every week, but periodically throughout the semester or whatever it was, having them regularly was something that I feel like I took for granted, because it's not easy to get that same situation after school. I can't easily, conveniently, regularly bring people together and say, let's talk about my work. Another thing about that I really miss is getting the feedback on presentation. So when would be putting art shows together lately, I would have to think about the sequence of my work and what pieces flow best and what's the best order and blah blah blah. And it was really nice in school during critiques, getting so many different opinions at once about what the order should be, and what different people's interpretations are of different pieces and the way they work together. I was missing that, especially last year when I was doing my biggest solo show. It was 14 pieces, and I really missed having a group of people sitting with me in a room telling me those two should go together, those two should go together, whether I agreed or not, just getting all those ideas. Doing it by myself was of course harder, and I would second guess myself a little bit, and I did get opinions from other people, but I had to reach out to them and wait to hear back. It just wasn't as easy as having everyone together in one place. Another thing I really missed about critiques was just that kind of brainstorming, again, a group of creatives together in one room, looking at work. It felt really good and productive to be bouncing ideas off of each other and eventually reach kind of a consensus, or even if a decision wasn't made, I would almost always leave with a lot of new ideas. So, and in general, I just like discussing and brainstorming with people. That's one of my favorite things to do. It always makes for, when you really get rolling, it's great conversation. So I do miss that. And of course, I miss the feeling of a good critique. Going into critiques was always so nerve-wracking, because even when I was feeling really good about my work, I never really know what other people are gonna think. So going into that and feeling really nervous and presenting my work and then getting lots of positive feedback was such a good feeling. And I don't know. It was unique because of the format. Like, it's a group of people, you're giving like a mini artist talk, and then they're giving you feedback. There's not really a lot of things that simulate that same situation, so it always felt really good getting a good critique, and of course I miss getting good feedback. One thing I do not miss about critiques were that they can be very opinion based. So there would be times when I was really excited about, for example, a collage project, and the other people and the people critiquing it were like not liking the collage aspect. They weren't getting it. Like, I was trying to express it, and to them, they felt there were better ways to express it. So even though I felt that like collage was a good way to do it, and I felt like if I could keep working at it, like it wasn't there yet, but I felt like if I could keep working at it, it would eventually grow to something that would really reflect my concept. But the critiques were pretty regularly not supportive, and so it was hard for me, and it was probably harder for me then than it would be now because I was younger, but it's hard in the face of so many disagreeable opinions to keep pursuing something. Art is so subjective that you can't really rely on like whether people like it or not to make decisions. But in a critique focused culture, like in a situation like that where critiques are so much of the only feedback you're getting, it's hard to disregard what you're hearing because that's pretty much all you're hearing. And critiques were also really difficult because like work is so personal. It's very hard to like put so much of yourself up and risk hearing like so many negative things about it. Like, stressful and really disheartening sometimes, but you just have to push through it. I mean, that's life, but whether that's part of life or not, I do not miss putting up work that was so deep and then getting like, this is not very good. Like, I would miss, I would start to kind of envy the other classes or like students who weren't art majors when their final, instead of it being a critique, it was like a test, because you can study for a test and there's right or wrong answers on the test. So if you're wrong, you're wrong. Whereas like with art, I might think I'm right and you might think I'm wrong, and who's to say who's right and who's wrong? You can't. But that's a whole other conversation. The other thing that was kind of a negative about critiques is kind of like sometimes I would see a little bit of mob psychology, like no one would be saying anything and then like someone with a really strong opinion would say something and then everyone kind of just agrees because they want to feel like they're right. So whether it's positive feedback or negative feedback, if it's just everyone echoing what they feel is the strongest opinion in the room, you're not really getting like genuine constructive criticism. You're kind of just hearing echoes, and it's hard to progress or learn from disingenuous feedback like that. So I don't know, especially since it's a classroom setting, like we're all learning. So sometimes people don't feel as confident in what they're saying, and I don't miss that. I do not miss that. The last thing about critiques that is kind of a negative or something that I don't miss is that if it's a small repeated group, again, it's hard to grow because you're only getting the same people's opinions over and over. So back to my collage example, maybe if I had taken it to a different group of people every time, I would be getting more varied feedback and would have felt more confident pursuing that concept. But because it's the same group over and over, you're just kind of getting the same feedback over and over. When you're only getting feedback from the same group, that group kind of becomes the art world for you, and you feel like, oh, like nobody likes this. Like I was feeling like maybe this just isn't my thing because like I'm hearing nothing but no. So when I'm going out and getting more feedback from a larger group, it's easier for me to learn and accept that like not everyone's gonna like it, but some people do. This is worth pursuing. Whereas if it's a small group and everyone's kind of the same opinion, it's too easy to rely only on those opinions, and you kind of get tunnel vision and you're not seeing that there's so much more than just this group of people that you're always with. So those are things that I liked and disliked, things I miss and don't miss about critiques. overall, I think that they were a really good learning experience. I do miss having like a group of people whose objective was just to give completely objective feedback without worrying about hurting feelings or being unafraid to say, I don't think this is working. And I also miss critiquing work. I miss having that like back and forth with people. So I don't know, maybe that's something we can start doing in the real world. Maybe we can put together like virtual critiques. But anyway, this is slow work, so I only filled in a little bit of the dress. There's still so much to go, but it is fun and it's gonna be so pretty when it's done. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to know what you think about critiques. If you've experienced them, did you like them? Would you be interested in doing like a virtual critique? Because that could be really cool. I think it could actually be fun. So let me know. And thank you guys so much for watching. And please like the video, subscribe maybe. And I will talk to you later.